guys, welcome to a very special pilot edition of Chase the Unknown. This is a brand new podcast for us here at Right Time Productions, and we want to focus on what you're passionate about and why you're passionate about that. Here at Chase the Unknown, our goal is to highlight those in our culture that are currently going after their dreams. They're not allowing circumstances around them and difficulties to slow them down. They're doing everything they can to chase their dream and really just give people a platform to share what they're passionate about. We figured we'd start out with, well, us, your hosts. Have you get to know us a little bit, what we're passionate about and why. With that being said, let me bring in my two co-hosts over Zoom, Trinity Dobbs, founder of Right Time Productions, and Jared Robert Todd.
Hi.
Hello, hey guys.
Not really sure what we're supposed to say, so.
I know we're all new to podcasting, so we're all kind of just figuring this out together, figuring out
right
what we're supposed to say, what we're supposed to do. We're standing over here like what are we supposed to do with our hands? But anyway,
right.
so we just wanted to start off with basically telling you guys a little bit about ourselves and where we what we're up to, and a little bit more about Right Time Productions. So we want to start off with you, Trinity. Just talk a little bit about this is, after all, Right Time Productions kind of is your baby.
It is. So ever since I was little, I've always had this dream of I'd watch like all these different movies and I'd see all these different actors and I would be like, but I had this passion for missions was more my thing. So I was like, well, don't these actors need Jesus too? Someone's got to be the person to witness to them, whether it be whatever way they can, whether you just run into them on the street or you work, with the camera or whatever. So throughout high school, I tried to figure out how to do it, but I never really could because I grew up very sheltered, and in my town that I grew up in, there wasn't really an opportunity for that. And the very few opportunities that there were, I didn't actually get to know about because of just the way of my life was. I didn't really have that opportunity. So I actually, when I got out of high school, I kind of started looking around and found that there is a program called AMTC, which is Actors, Models, and Talent for Christ. And when I auditioned and got accepted into the program, which then kind of opened my eyes to the whole world out there of film and television and writing and all this different platforms. And so after going through that program, I started kind of meeting all these different people who had dreams that were similar to mine. So actually me and a friend of mine who I met through AMTC, she and I wrote a television series, at least that's what we considered it to be at the time. We had an outline written for it. We had an idea of how we wanted the show to go and where we wanted it to go. We just didn't really know, who to call to film it. We didn't have the money to pay people for, anything. And so when we wrote the show, I actually came to Roger, because Roger and I worked together at the time, and I showed him my script. And I said, what are your thoughts? Because I knew Roger had a background in film production. He has a degree in it. And so I went to him and I asked him for his opinion of it. And so he and I kind of started collaborating more on it. And then the more, we collaborated, the more we got to know each other and more we realized we had the similar passions kind of. So we wrote and did Scars, which was our first short film. And after that, I was like, well, this is my dream. So why don't we make it a reality? And so that's how we created Right Time Productions is, I wanted a production company for a while because I wanted to get into acting and get in front of the camera and stuff, but I didn't have a demo reel or a way to get a demo reel because I have been very typecast. I can't play the roles that, I can't play the leading lady because a lot of people, they don't see that. But if you show it on a demo reel, they're more open to casting you for that part if they can see that you can play that part. And so I wanted a demo reel as well. So between filming Scars and, needing demo reel material, we kind of collaborated and created Right Time. So that's how Right Time kind of came into existence. And it's kind of one of those where I genuinely have a heart for helping others just naturally. And so Right Time is that platform to help new actors, new people into the industry, people who are just trying to figure out their way and figure out what they like and why they like it and how to get involved into it in different ways. And that's what I've always wanted this company to be. It's a platform where we do everything we can to help other people, whether it be music or film or writing or camera work, sound, it doesn't matter. That's what this platform is, and that's what it's meant to be. So
That's
that's
awesome.
kind of that's Right Time right there.
That's all. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Oh,
What about film in particular do you think inspires you in particular? Because there's so many different creative outlets in there. When it comes to there's film, there's theater, there's creative writing. What about film and that specifically? Do you think that's inspiring to you?
I don't know. I think I just always enjoyed movies more than plays in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up watching Walker, Texas Ranger, and MacGyver, and so in my head, they got to travel to all these different places until I realized that they were filmed probably with a green screen But even as when I found out actors can travel to different locations, I was like, oh, I get to travel too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just I mean, even if you have to fake travel with a green screen, at least it looks cool on camera. And film, you can do different aspects of different things. I mean, think of any Star Wars movie, Marvel movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like they have all those different special effects that just when you put everything together, it just comes up and it's just a cool product. And then to be able to look at it and say, I made that, to me, that was more fun. I mean, plays are really good too. If you like that type of thing, musical theater and stuff, musical theater is really cool because there is, you have to learn all the choreography and then you have to sing the songs and you have to do it all at the same time, which takes a lot of talent. But I don't know. I just liked film better, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. It's just, I always liked film better.
When it comes down to it, the definition of passion isn't necessarily even universal. Lots of people have a different version of, what do you consider a passion?
Mm-hmm.
Which I found to be quite interesting. And you're right. It's technology has come to the point now where it's you don't have to go through the traditional system anymore. You don't have to move out to an LA or even now in Atlanta, with Pinewood and everything based here now. It's really consumer technology and even pro technology really is really kind of come down to a level where you don't have to have millions of dollars or whatever it is to put out a product on YouTube or whatever it is,
Yeah.
You can even, I'm seeing people producing great stuff even with their iPhones, and so that's comes something I just kind of try and think of is that in a way there's almost no excuse not to create, because we've been given so much potential and so much opportunity nowadays in the age we live in that we can tell any story we want.
Yeah. I mean, with the quarantine, we have nothing but time on our hands now. So
exactly.
I mean, it's come so far that we have quality recording equipment available and readily to those who may want it. And that definitely gave rise to citizen journalism, which is really neat. But also just citizen creativeness, which I think is really awesome.
Tell us more about you. What are you passionate about? All that.
Gosh, I'm Jared Robert Todd. I really like to act. I guess my first experience with acting, I was super young. It was at a church, and we did a play. I can't really remember much, but I remember I enjoyed it, honestly. And then years later, I went to Young Americans Christian School, and there they did competition, like 1-act competition, where you had like 50 minutes to present a full play, a full production, which is a very short time actually for stage play. And we did that, and I played Theseus, I believe, in A Midsummer's Night midterm, which is kind of a play off, of course, Midsummer's Night's Dream. I did terribly. Like I hated my own performance, but I enjoyed performing in the first place. So that's really what got me into acting, and I just kept going with it and kept practicing. And I remember you were talking about musical theater. That's really was my beginning, I guess. My first one that I kind of really count as an actual acting experience was Beauty and the Beast, and I played Lumiere. And
oh yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was back in high school when I was like all skinny and you know could eat anything I wanted.
Do you have any footage of that?
Say what?
Do you have any footage of that?
I don't, unfortunately, I don't. But it was so much fun being Lumiere. You know, just getting into the character and doing musical and all that. And then, of course, I found Right Time Productions. I'm skipping years and years here.
Oh yeah.
There's also a lot of filler that's not really interesting.
Nice.
I did 1 or 2 productions. I went to a college, and then I flunked out of said college in the middle of a production, which was sad. But and then there were none. That was that one. I played Anthony Marston,
yes.
who died, which would have been a great stage death, but they didn't let me do it. But yeah. Then I was just I can't remember. Was it a Facebook post that I found you guys on, or?
I think yeah.
I think it was a casting call for Choice.
Yeah, okay.
No, Young Life.
No, it was for Young Life. Yeah, Choice came afterwards.
It was for Young Life.
A casting call for Young Life. I got the email that they wanted an interview, so I get on the interview, and I really liked y'all's message, what you guys had going on. Trinity mentioned helping people. And so far, I mean, you guys have helped me a lot, which I really thank you guys for.
Absolutely.
We're trying.
And just you guys were very wholesome, and I felt like, you know what, this is something I want to be a part of, and that's what brought me here.
Yeah, and you did. You mentioned a little bit, just in there a little bit about journalism and all that, and you actually have a degree in that, right?
I do. I have an associate's, but yeah.
Associates, yeah. Yeah, hey, associates are still an associates. I mean, hey,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it is.
Would you? Yeah.
I enjoy writing, definitely. But journalism it's a bit beyond me. I did an internship at the Covington News, and it's so fast and it's so cutthroat, and I don't feel like I'm either of those things. So I was like, you know what? I like acting, so let me try acting. And I haven't looked back since, honestly. Yeah. I still like to write, definitely, but not in that, like, get that article out now before this other news group and, and, you know, get this interview, you know, ask this person. You have to, like, press them. If they don't answer you, you know, attack them. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. And they're like, well, you know, get out of here. So I was like, okay.
Actually, that's why I didn't go into journalism, because, like you, I love to write. I mean, and I mean, you can tell that by, you know, the book that I wrote. But, you know, I don't like pushing people to do things they don't want to do. I've never been that type of person. They have to want to do it.
Exactly. And you know what? So, also, you kind of put yourself in a position where you can get shut down real easy. When you're the one asking questions, people can be really mean to you if they want to, and you have no recourse. So I experienced that a few times, and I'm an actor, so of course I'm kind of sensitive. I'm a little baby, so that would like hurt my feelings. I was like, I don't want to do journalism anymore. So that's basically my experience.
That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, journalism, you know, like I said, I love to write, and I don't like questioning people. That's why I guess I kind of took to film, was because, you know, in film, I get to decide what I do and what I don't. If I don't want to play a role, I don't have to. If, you know, and they can't force me to do it, because if I choose not to, the only way they could force me to do it is if I commit to the project, which you have to really do your research before you commit in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's why I like Right Time is we're not going to force you to do something you don't want to do, because there are other people who are willing to do what you're doing if you're not willing to do it. So not that you're replaceable, that quickly, but at the same time, if you're not going to take advantage of the chance that you've been given, I'm going to give it to somebody else who wants it. So because people are willing to work for it.
Exactly. And
so
you've got to want it. I didn't want journalism. So of course I'm not going to succeed there if I don't want it. But
right.
I want acting. Like every role I've gone for, I wanted it. Or I just wanted to act in the first place, which is quarantine. It hurts because you have all these projects scheduled that just got
denied.
And like you have that itch to act, honestly.
Yeah,
and that brings me, a lot of people like ask questions like what does it take to be an actor? And honestly, it takes, I'm gonna list practice first, because with any art, you gotta practice. You gotta work on it. Work.
Absolutely.
But second, do you want to be an actor? Do you really want it? Are you willing to face hardships? Are you willing to face challenges? Then yeah, you can be an actor if you want it. It's that desire. You've got to find what you want. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. When I figured out that I wanted to be in, the entertainment industry somehow, I hadn't figured out how yet. I went to my parents and they just kind of gave me this look of, why? It's not that it was a bad thing. They didn't understand what I wanted and why I wanted it. And now, over the years, as they kind of seen me do things and they've seen Right Time come to life and all that stuff, they've always been super supportive of my decision, but, they don't understand it. And so when you come from a place where they don't understand what you're talking about, it makes it hard for them to support you when they don't know how to.
Yeah.
So you have to have the practice and you have to get into everything, by yourself, which makes it hard. But at the same time, if you really want it, you're going to do it whether people support you or not.
Exactly.
So, because in the end, it'll make you happier. And you're not trying to please everybody else. At least you shouldn't be trying to please everybody else. You should be pleasing God and yourself, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And the Christian message, honestly, really meshes well with the acting because of that. Because there is no authority you answer to besides God and yourself.
Right.
And you shouldn't be, during acting, you shouldn't be exactly trying to please an audience. You should just be acting. And honestly, just trying to, again, please God and yourself leads to just something more natural. But yeah, anyways, with all that being said, I don't think we've heard from Roger yet. So what is your background? What got you into all this, man?
Yeah, so that's interesting. So that's been, for me, that's been a long road. I guess I'll try and keep it as much as in a nutshell as I can. But basically it's interesting question people ask me. They say, "Oh, like how did you first get interested in video, or when did you first get interested in film, or whatever it is?" And basically all I can say is, hey, like it's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I can, even when I was like 5 or whatever, I was making little shows with my stuffed animals and all that, so production's always been some sort of a fascination for me, in some way. It's really just been interesting to kind of see over the years how it's kind of just evolved and kind of morphed into and become more specific. I know, at least for me, when you mentioned, Jared, about, oh, well, I was in this theater. I knew I wanted to be an actor when I did this show on show in school, in community theater, all that. I kind of had a little bit of a similar experience, where I was in my church's choir group, when I was preteen, teen, whatever you want to call it, that age, and I remember I was like, I'm going to take a step of confidence and I'm going to step up I've always been interested in production. I maybe I want to be an actor. Who knows? And so I went out for a role. I ended up getting a small little role. It was basically it was Christmas time, so it was basically about this hospital where all these people are going to the hospital and all that. And so basically, I was just a person in the hospital that walks up to the counter, and basically my backstory they gave me was I had stuck my tongue on a flagpole and it got stuck to the flagpole. And so basically, my whole role was just to go up and just kind of murmur and just go like, You know, I had little hand motions I did with it, you know, but I was petrified. Even though didn't have to talk, had to walk up to the counter, 5 seconds, go, That's literally all I had to do. But I was freaking petrified. And so I always say that was the moment when I decided I didn't want to be an actor. And while I feel like I've warmed up to being in front of the camera a lot more recently, especially since we've kind of gone down this road with Right Time Productions and all that, definitely I've gotten a lot more comfortable in front of a camera, in front of a screen and all that. But yeah, it's kind of always just been part of my live production. You know, I've always been trying to figure out why it works like it does and all that. You know, I was always the weird kid that would watch something and be like, oh well, this is the camera's moving this way, why are they making that decision, you know? Even with theater was a huge part of my life growing up, and it was interesting because since I wasn't interested in acting, you know, it was kind of, I almost had to create a little bit of a niche for myself in a local community theater that I got involved with, just with getting involved in behind the scenes stuff and all that. But yeah, that's kind of where my background is. I eventually just kind of transitioned into, hey, well, seems like a better fit. You know, I've always been interested, grew up watching all the Christian movies, you know, all that. You know, and had a kind of really just got a huge passion for bringing people to the Lord through stories. You know, because story is such a powerful tool. You know, it's something that, and I remember reading a statistic growing up, and when I was a teenager, something along the lines of, it was a study that the Barner Group did a while back, where they said statistically, more people are going to the movies than going to the church. And that really kind of hit me in a certain spot where I was like, whoa, well, like, this is where we need to be focusing on. You know, this is where we really need to start doing ministry. I never really did anything with that quite, because I did a few things, but I kind of hit a spot where I, in a way, burnt out, because I was like, no one wants to help me with this. And I just kind of got disappointed in a way, because I was like, you know, no one wants to help me with this. I can't do all this by myself. You know, and I think that was a huge learning curve for me, was being able to realize that I can't do it all myself. That I need a team, that I need to develop relationships with other people that I really trust, that I know can handle, I trust with the vision. And I realized that not only did I need to do that I need to do that for other people. And so fast forward to where I was working at Chick-fil-A, and just happened to be working with Trinity. And we are pretty close friends when working at the Luau. Long story short, we ended up both leaving, but we ended up just staying friends, staying in contact. And like Trinity mentioned, you know, she came in and was like, hey, like, this is something that me and a friend of one of my best friends wrote. Do you want to take a look at it? Maybe we can look into some options of how we can even get it produced and all that. I was like, sure, you know. I saw that she had a passion. I saw that she had the same passion for it as I did. And I think that was the main reason why, and that's really, I think, why forming Right Time Productions was just so natural for both of us. But once we did realize that that was going to take a while, just development wise, and really to really do it right, do it with excellence, do it. We really believed in where we were going with the story, and just really do it do it as best as we could. We knew it was going to take time. So we're like, okay, well, let's go ahead and challenge ourselves, find other ways to challenge ourselves in terms of short films, And so that's when we did Scars. That's when we did a few other ones. And when we were doing casting for Young Life, because we want to do it right, we were like, hey, we want to go out there and find people that actually can act. We don't want to just use anybody who's just interested in standing in front of a camera. We want to find people that can actually act. And we're like, yeah, we realize this is a longer road, but it's going to be so much more worth it. And so when we did start casting, Jared is actually one of the very first people that we actually talked to. And we did talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
We got a lot of emails. Which was surprising. I was not expecting that.
We had several emails. Oh, it was a lot.
Shocked.
There's over 1,000 emails. But we were casting for like 6 different characters, but there was still over 1,000 emails easily.
I was shocked, honestly.
Me too.
I want to thank you for thinking that I can actually act.
You can.
Yeah. And actually,
we have.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we actually really liked you because not only of your demo reel, but you had the look that we wanted. Because we wanted, for that particular character, you had that look that we wanted. And you were, that was why we picked you. You had the look and you could act. And then once we got to interview you, your personality just came out, which was very compatible to both mine and Roger's. So
yeah, definitely. And I see that a lot. Like between the three of us, we have a good, chemistry going, which is great.
Yeah, it is.
And I wanted to, if I could, circle back to just it's so crazy. So you and Trinity, Roger and Trinity, just worked together at Chick-fil-A and just happened to meet each other. It's crazy how much what people would call luck goes into this industry. What just circumstance goes into this industry. And what's crazier is that it's not just luck or circumstance, it's design.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is amazing.
Definitely true. I mean, me working at the Luau in the first place was a blessing in a nutshell. When I moved to Georgia in the first place, Chick-fil-A was the first job I applied to. And the Chick-fil-A that I actually applied to wasn't hiring, but the operator of that Chick-fil-A owned the one that I worked at. And he called me within 20 minutes of me applying. And both me and my roommate at the time both got hired on the spot that day.
Oh no!
Within 2 hours of turning in our application. So we both got hired on the spot. And then when Roger came in, I'll never forget Roger's first day. That was a day.
Oh dear God! Do we want to tell that story?
Forget in my life. It was my fault, but it was a day. Well, that's a different story for a different time.
Because you were actually a team lead at the time, and it was my first day.
I was a supervisor of that whole section, and I was supposed to train Roger, but he was a new person, first day, and I needed someone to do something, and that's a different story for a different time.
We can tell that story later.
Yeah, we worked together for about 1.5 years to 2 years. And then I was the first one to leave.
You were. My story kind of with my story with Chick-fil-A is interesting because, I always was like, I was always like, I'll do whatever, job wise, but I never want to work in food service, and especially Chick-fil-A, because it seemed like everybody under the sun that I either grew up with or I knew personally worked for Chick-fil-A in some capacity. So I was like, I want to be different. I don't want to work for Chick-fil-A, Not that there's anything wrong with working for Chick-fil-A, but I was just like, I was like, I want to be different, I want to, but hey, somehow I ended up still working for Chick-fil-A.
And it was actually very interesting because there was a lot of people that we worked with that were actually into the film industry, whether they were good or not. That's, your own opinion. Everyone else gets their own opinion of that. But there was several people that were involved in the film industry in some way, shape, or form. But, so it was, God that definitely kind of brought Roger and I together in this aspect, because we had a similar personality. So we had really good chemistry when we worked together in the first place, because like anything that I needed, he would. I mean, he's that person who was like, well, I'll do whatever. So he was the person who I said, okay, go do this. Okay, go do that. And he would do it, and he never even questioned it. So, and that's why we talk so much, at Chick-fil-A, because we work together. So, you get to talk and you start learning about the people you work with. And I have good relationship with a lot of people that I used to work with. And none of us really work there anymore, but we still have good relationships. Which,
how long was it that we worked together that you didn't even know I was interested really in film? It was a long time.
See, I worked at Chick-fil-A completely for 3 years. But I think you started about maybe a year.
Okay, that sounds about right.
A year and a half before I left.
Okay,
so I don't even know how long it was. I know it was a while.
I think I was there for about 6 months.
6 to 8 months before I even realized you were into film, because there was a lot of people who were, and I mean, Pinewood Studios isn't far from where we were working either. So
no, it was 5 minutes.
I actually think, I can't remember if someone had asked me a question about something film related, or if I had gone on a trip that was film related or something, and you'd asked me about it or something like that. I think that's what happened. I don't quote me on that.
Anyway, it's been a while.
But I mean,
it's been a while.
But even if it's just film is a passion of mine, but not everybody out there has a passion for film, and I want to make sure that everyone understands that this is just to pursue your dream regardless of what it is. It doesn't have to be in the film or entertainment industry.
Exactly.
Like my boyfriend, for example, he wants to be an engineer, and he loves it. And by all means, you go for it. I know nothing about math. It's never been my strongest subject in the world.
Me neither.
And to go into engineering, you have to be excellent at it. But he starts talking about it, and I can always tell that he's passionate about it, because you can see the look in his eyes. And he'll talk to me. His face will light up, and his eyes will get really big, and he'll have this big smile come across his face as he's explaining to me what he's talking about. And and I have this deer in headlights look, like, well, I don't understand a thing. I barely know what 2 + 2 equals. So and he's talking like physics too, and I'm like, I don't understand what 2 + 2 equals, let alone physics too. So, but at the same time, this is something where it's just a matter of going out there and doing it, and doing whatever you have to do it, and don't be afraid of working in the fast food or retail industry to until you can get there, or take janitorial job if you have to, which I have done as well. I mean, I worked fast food and retail for 8.5 years before I even got into this industry. So
that's the thing, like, unless you are extremely privileged, you will start out basically in as far as the industry is concerned with nothing. So you have to have something to support yourself, and like it's not anything to be ashamed of at all.
No.
And don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it. You're doing what you're doing. You're pursuing an art, which is difficult. But just do what you have to do if you really want to do it. Yeah,
absolutely. And make time for what you want. Like I have a full-time job right now. It's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But at the same time, in my spare time, I still try to do, whether I have to write an episode of Young Life, or whether I have to, film something for the YouTube channel, or meet up with Roger and have a production meeting, or do a Zoom call with both of you guys to kind of talk about things, or whatever it is I have to do, I do it. Even if it's just going to the gym to make sure I can get into shape for the next role that I have to play, whatever that case may be. So, even if it's something small, as long as it attributes to what you're doing or what you want, then that's all that matters.
I like that. I think I like what you just said. I think a lot of people would benefit from hearing that. Like, I'm going to say it again. Even something small, even if you are tired at the end of the day from the work you've been doing, Do something small. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to sit there and write an entire script. You don't have to sit there and read an entire script. Just do something every day.
Yeah.
Those little bits will build up to something big. And as long as you keep doing it, consistency is key.
Yeah. I've always, a lot of my friends like to sing, and they're very talented singers and musicians. And, I sit there and I see them put up videos, whether it be on like TikTok or Snapchat or YouTube or whatever. Even if they're just singing something small, at least they're singing and they're putting the video up there and they're getting likes and whatever. And I have one who's very passionate about makeup, and so she goes live on Facebook all the time doing her makeup, and she'll answer questions about the different makeup products, or what she uses or why she's using it, and all of this different stuff. And that's just something small that she's doing. But at the same time, her TikTok is very popular right now. She's got like 50,000 followers or something on TikTok. I'm not sure how TikTok works, but at the same time, I mean, she's got quite a few, and so obviously she's doing something right. So
she's enjoying her work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she, even if it's something so small, it's very big as well.
Yeah. So. And honestly, if you're happy with what you're doing, that's going to read. The audience is going to see that, that you're into it, that you're passionate, that you're happy. Even if it's not like a happy scene, they're going to see your passion for it, and they're going to be engaged and enjoy you.
Right. I when I worked at Chick-fil-A, I met this guy that I worked with. He was very young. He was still in high school when I started working there. And I was talking to him one night just because we're working together. And I asked him what he was passionate about, and he said music. And I said, "Oh, why don't you pursue that? What are you doing to pursue it, or are you going to?" And he said, "No, I'm not going to." I said, "Well, why?" He said, "Because my parents would kick me out if I did." And I'll never forget that, because he said my parents would kick me out if I did. And I'm like, "Why?" And he said they don't see it as a real career. They don't see it as something, profitable. They see it as just a hobby. Yeah. And when I heard that, my heart broke. I kid you not, my heart broke. I was so sad, because I know a lot of people, unfortunately, who are like this. And my parents have never necessarily agreed with everything that I've done, but they've always supported me and given me advice to help me, regardless of whether they liked it or not, because they always told me it was my life and my choices, not theirs. You can't, I'm not a parent, but you can't live your life through your child. You have to live your own life and let your child live theirs. Because that's how this world becomes great. There are, people out there who don't get the opportunity to pursue their dreams because they're so scared of what people think of them, or that they're going to be disowned by their community or family or whoever. And I guess it just really kind of put into, insight to why I'm very grateful for the family that I have, and I'm very grateful that they're supportive of me. Whether they agree with me or not, that's their own opinion, and that's their choice, but they still love me regardless. They're not going to let, that stop them from loving me, and if they don't like my choices, they don't have to ask about it. You don't have to talk to me about it. You don't have to support me. You don't have to go like my Facebook page or whatever, but you still love me. So that's, so don't let your feelings about it affect other people's dreams. I guess is my whole point behind this.
And
so
the big thing is you need to find a support network, honestly. Part of mine is you guys. You guys help me out. You guys give me work. You guys, give me insights into the industry. I've been learning a lot right now listening to you. And
that makes me feel good, because I don't consider myself an expert.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, all we have is each other. All you have is your peers currently, especially somebody just starting out. So appreciate that. I guess is what I'll
Yeah.
say. Definitely appreciate that. Thank your friends. Be there for them. You are remember, support is two ways. So be there for them and thank them. Honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I was telling you guys before this started, is the equipment that I've been using to record this, I actually got as a Christmas gift from my boyfriend's family.
Aww.
And so, which is super, it was super generous of them, and I'm very grateful for it, because it just shows that they care about me enough to help me pursue my dreams. And actually, they've even come to one of the premiere of Scars, when we premiered the short film Scars. They showed up to it. I mean, my parents live in a different state, and so they couldn't come. My parents they were like, when can we see it? We want to watch it. How do we get to watch it? And all that stuff. So they're supportive in that regard. And then, my boyfriend's family actually showed up to the premiere because they live closer than my parents do. Yeah. But, it was very genuine, and I'm very grateful to have that type of support system. And of course, I have people who are in the industry who are like you guys, for example. I've got you guys, and I've got other different networks of people who are here, and they're like, hey, we want to help you and support you in every way, because there are people out there who want to follow the same passions that you do, whether you want to be an engineer or an actor. There are different people for that, and you just have to find the right group of people and not be afraid of getting rejected for it.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the biggest things, is that people don't jump in. People don't chase their dreams because they're afraid of being rejected, And I think a lot of that does stem from the fact that they don't have a support system, whether that's home or friends or whatever it is, That's another big reason why we wanted to create Right Time Productions, is that we don't expect anybody to be perfect. I was actually having this conversation with somebody yesterday, was that we actually prefer to get people involved that really don't know what they're doing, because we are more than happy to pass on what we know. We have a knowledge that we're not experts, but we're more than happy to pass on what we do know to you, because just because you want to get involved, and it's about support. It's about at the end of the day, this is what we tell everybody. Before we work with them, is that it's about learning and growing together. None of us are perfect. We're all going to make mistakes,
Absolutely.
And so I think as long as we all just realize that at the end of the day, more than telling a story, more than any of that, it's, we're a community, we're a family in a way, and we have to be willing to learn and grow together, because that's how things done. And if you're not, and going back to your point, Jared, if you're not having fun doing what you're doing, I don't want to say why do it, but
what's the point?
Needs to be a deeper conversation involved with that. Well, I think it's about time we wrap this up. It's been so great to just give you a little bit of context for who we are, what we're passionate about, and why, and just have you get to know us a little bit. We'll be back at you every Wednesday with a new episode. Make sure you like and subscribe to Right Time Productions on all social. We'll be posting more updates and who will be coming on the podcast every week. Until next week, go out there and chase your unknown. This is Roger Sisk with Chase the Unknown, signing off. God bless.